What happens when two icons collide live on air, and neither one is willing to back down? This is more than just a celebrity spat. This is a raw, unfiltered battle of values, privilege, and what it really means to speak your truth when millions are watching. The morning started off like any other on The View. Studio lights blazing, a list guest in the chair. Jennifer Lopez arrived ready to promote her upcoming tour, talk new projects, and maybe reflect on her career. What she didn't expect was a full-blown interrogation. Sitting across from her, Whoopi Goldberg locked eyes with a familiar look, a look that said, "I'm coming for you, Jennifer." Whoopi began, voice steady, eyes sharp. "Let's talk about your recent comments on working mothers in Hollywood. You said something I found interesting." Jennifer kept her composure. "I was just sharing my personal experience. Balancing career and motherhood is hard for every woman, in different ways. I think it's important we support one another." But Whoopi wasn't buying it. "That's what bothers me," she fired back. "You talk about struggle, but you've got nannies, chefs, assistants. How can you possibly relate to the single mom working double shifts just to get by?" The air shifted. Even the co-hosts looked uneasy. Jennifer took a breath. "I've never denied my privilege. But being a mother in any situation comes with emotional challenges. Guilt is universal." Whoopi cut her off. "Please. You're talking about missing bedtime stories from a private jet. Some moms can't afford bedtime stories. Your comments come off as tone deaf." The tension was now visible. "I'm not comparing struggles," Jennifer said, her voice calm but firm. "I'm acknowledging that even with help, mothers feel pain being away from their children. It's not about who has it worse. It's about understanding we all feel it." Whoopi leaned back with a smirk. "So you're saying your pain, filming on a luxury set, is the same as a mother choosing between groceries and childcare?" "Come on." Jennifer's jaw clenched. But she didn't flinch. "That's not what I said, and you know it," she replied, now stronger. "You're twisting my words to make a point that ignores what I'm actually trying to say." The silence from the rest of the panel was deafening. "You want to talk about support?" Whoopi snapped. "Use your platform to elevate the voices of women who don't have your choices, instead of making it all about you." Jennifer didn't blink. "So I should stay quiet about my truth because I'm successful? That's not support, Whoopi. That's silencing." Whoopi laughed, but it wasn't warm. "You want to talk about truth. Your truth sounds a lot like complaining about first-world problems." Jennifer leaned forward. "My truth is that I love my kids, and I struggle being away from them. If the size of my bank account disqualifies me from sharing that, then maybe you're the one who's out of touch." Whoopi's face darkened. "Excuse me, what does that say about me?" Jennifer didn't flinch. "It says you're more focused on tearing down successful women than building a bridge between different kinds of struggle. It says you believe there's only one kind of pain that deserves to be validated." "That's dangerous." The room froze. One of the co-hosts tried to interrupt. "Ladies, maybe we should." But Whoopi raised a hand. "No, let her finish. I want to hear what else she thinks she knows about me." Jennifer paused. She could have walked it back. But she didn't. "I grew up admiring you, Whoopi, for being a voice for women. But today, you're using your voice to shame one. That's not strength. That's gatekeeping. The cameras caught everything. No edits. No filters. Just two women, two perspectives, and a moment that would dominate headlines for weeks. In the end, it wasn't about fame or fortune. It was about who gets to feel and who gets to speak." Whoopi shot up so fast her chair screeched across the studio floor. "How dare you sit in my studio and tell me I'm out of touch?" She snapped, her voice razor sharp. "Do you have any idea what I've been through? What I've fought for?" Jennifer remained seated, but her voice didn't waver, rising to match Whoopi's fury. "I know exactly what you fought for," she replied, eyes locked on hers. Which is why it hurts to see you fighting against me, instead of for the conversation that actually matters. The room exploded. Co-hosts scrambled to mediate, voices overlapping, cue cards forgotten. But it was already too late. A line had been crossed, and no one was stepping back over it. Whoopi pointed a trembling finger at Jennifer, her face flushed with righteous anger. You don't get to come into my house, wearing designer clothes, and lecture me on how to support women. I've been doing this since before you even knew what a camera was. Now Jennifer stood, face to face, unflinching. Then act like it, she said sharply. Stop tearing me down for sharing my experience, and start helping elevate the conversation we should be having about all working mothers. Every camera was locked in. Every second was being broadcast live, raw, and uncut. The producers frantically signaled for a commercial break, but Whoopi waved them off without looking away from Jennifer. The energy in the room shifted. The tension was no longer about motherhood or privilege. It had become personal. Whoopi's voice dropped into a low, dangerous growl. You know what your problem is, Jennifer. You think because you've sold some records and starred in a few movies, you understand the real world. But you don't. You live in a bubble, and that bubble has made you blind to how ridiculous you sound. Jennifer's cool cracked, just slightly. My problem is that I walked in here expecting a conversation between two professional women. Instead, I'm getting a lecture from someone who thinks she's the only one allowed to have an opinion on this show. The other hosts looked frozen in place. Shrinking in their chairs, one tried to step in. Maybe we should just. But Whoopi cut her off mid-sentence with a sharp glare. No, we're not stepping back. Jennifer wants to talk about authenticity. Let's talk about it. She spun back to Lopez, finger raised again. Let's talk about how you've reinvented yourself more times than Madonna. And now you want to play the struggling mother card. That was the last straw. Jennifer's eyes burned. Reinvented? You mean evolved, grown? Or do you mean refusing to be boxed in by people like you, who think they get to decide who I am and what I'm allowed to feel? Whoopi's eyebrows lifted. People like me? Her voice was sharp and rising. You want to clarify that, Jennifer? Because it sounds like you're about to say something you really shouldn't say on national television. The studio fell into a tense silence. Jennifer took a breath. I mean people who use their platforms to tear down other women instead of lifting them up. People who gatekeep the conversation and pretend they're the only voice that matters. People who've forgotten what real support looks like. Whoopi let out a dry, bitter laugh. That's rich. Coming from someone who built her brand on being whatever man she was dating wanted her to be. Authentic. You've changed your whole identity to match your relationships. The blow landed hard. Everyone felt it. Jennifer paled, then flushed with anger. How dare you drag my personal life into this? How dare you shame me for who I've loved, or what I've been through? That has nothing to do with my right to speak about motherhood. Whoopi was relentless. You've been married how many times? Had how many public breakups? You've performed your entire life for the cameras, so don't come at me talking about being real. Jennifer stepped closer to the table, voice trembling, but only with rage. My personal life doesn't invalidate my emotions as a mother. And the fact that you'd stoop so low, knowing my children will see this, that's on you. Whoopi's voice cracked, indignation flaring. Don't pretend to know what's low for me, Jennifer. What's low is waltzing in here and telling me how to support women. What's low is playing the victim when you have more than most women could dream of. Jennifer was steel now, calm, but cutting. What I have doesn't change what I feel. What changes the world is when women use their voices. And you're showing everyone right now why so many are afraid to. Because the moment they do, someone like you, someone they once admired, makes it a witch hunt. Whoopi scoffed. Witch hunt? This is accountability. No. Jennifer fired back, voice sharp. This is you making yourself the star of the show by turning on your guest. This is you forgetting that millions are watching and seeing exactly who you are behind all that talk of wisdom and mentorship. And then, silence. Whoopi's expression flickered through disbelief, fury, and something unreadable, before landing on a cold, simmering stare. Neither one moved. The show never went to commercial. The world watched, captivated by two women who refused to blink first. Who I really am, Whoopi snapped, rising from her seat, her voice cutting through the air like a blade. Let me tell you. I've earned my place at this table through decades of real work, real struggle, and real accomplishment. I'm not some polished, up-pop star who thinks she can strut in here and lecture me on women's issues. Jennifer recoiled as if struck. Her voice, when it came, was low and stunned. Manufactured, she repeated. Is that how you see me? Is that what 25 years of grinding in this business amounts to in your eyes? Do you reduce every woman who doesn't fit your definition of authentic to a puppet with a pretty face? Whoopi's stare was icy, her words colder. I see someone who's had every advantage. Every door opened, and still wants to sit here and complain. I see someone who thinks fame makes her pain more important. Jennifer's voice, now steady and rising with fire, struck back. No. You see what you want to see. You see what fits the version of me that makes you feel superior. But maybe, just maybe, you're the one who's wrong. And you can't handle that. With a crack of sound, Whoopi's hand slammed the table. The studio jolted. Wrong! Wrong! This is my show. This is my table. And I decide what crosses the line, not you. Chaos erupted as co-hosts scrambled, overlapping in panic, trying to salvage control. But then Jennifer's voice pierced through the noise. Your show. Your table. Your rules. Got it. But you know what you can't control. The millions of people who just watched you try to humiliate a guest for telling the truth. You can't control that they saw you use your platform to silence instead of support. Whoopi's eyes blazed. Silence you? Please. If I wanted to silence you, this segment would have ended 10 minutes ago. The fact that you're still sitting here running your mouth proves I'm letting you speak. I'm educating you. Jennifer's voice rose like a wave ready to crash. Educating me. By attacking my character. By dragging my personal life into a professional conversation. That's not education. That's character assassination. The word hung in the air like a shot fired. Whoopi froze. Her face went stark white, then flushed deep red. Assassination. Did you just accuse me of character assassination? On live television? Jennifer stared her down, unwavering. If the shoe fits. Gasps echoed. The studio fell into a stunned, almost holy silence. The cameras didn't dare blink. Co-hosts looked like passengers in a crash they couldn't stop. Staring. Horrified, but unable to look away. Whoopi stood still, chest heaving. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was quiet, controlled. Deadly. You know what, Jennifer? I think this interview is over. Jennifer didn't flinch. She stood tall, chin up. Is that what you do when someone challenges you? Shut it down. Pull the plug when you're losing control. Whoopi's voice sharpened. I shut it down when a guest forgets where she is and who she's talking to. Jennifer shot back instantly. I haven't forgotten anything. I've disagreed with you. I've defended myself. I've refused to be bullied. And if that makes you uncomfortable, maybe you need to take a hard look in the mirror. The temperature in the room plummeted. Whoopi's restraint snapped. Her voice rose. Furious, loud, raw. You want to talk about mirrors? Look in yours and see a woman who thinks her celebrity gives her a license to lecture people who've lived through things she can't imagine. Look and see someone so entitled, she thinks her tears mean more than anyone else's truth. Jennifer's tone turned icy. This has nothing to do with celebrity. This is about basic human decency. And for the past 20 minutes, you've been using your position to tear me down instead of lifting the conversation up. Whoopi laughed, sharp, bitter, joyless. Human decency? Coming from someone who walked into my studio and told me I don't support women. You called me a bully because I asked hard questions. You don't want truth. You want comfort. The studio swirled with noise, but the two women were locked in. Fire meeting fire. Hard questions. Jennifer snapped. You call mocking my relationships, reducing my identity, and undermining my motherhood hard questions. That wasn't journalism. That was a hit job. Whoopi stepped from behind the table now, circling closer. You people, everything is an attack. Everything's about feelings. You can't be challenged without crying fall. Jennifer froze. You people, she echoed, her eyes wide. Her voice dropped low, cold, precise. What exactly do you mean by you people? Whoopi. Because it sounds a whole lot like you're about to say something you really don't want to say on national television. The entire studio held its breath, and the cameras, still rolling, every glare, every unspoken threat, captured and immortalized. The moment Jennifer Lopez echoed Whoopi's own earlier words back at her, the irony was unmistakable, and no one in the studio missed it. Whoopi's expression flickered, realization, then fury. But instead of softening, she went harder. I mean celebrities who think they're untouchable. Whoopi snapped. People who sit in ivory towers and act like they understand the struggles of ordinary people. People like you, Jennifer, who show up on my stage and try to manipulate the story to make yourself the victim. Jennifer didn't flinch. She stepped forward, closing the distance between them. Manipulate the narrative, she said, eyes locked on Whoopi. The only one twisting things here is you. What should have been a real conversation about working mothers has turned into a smear campaign against me. My character, my relationships, my voice. And you're calling it tough questions while hiding behind your own ego. Whoopi's voice hit a full crescendo. I don't hide behind anything. I've been real from day one. I've earned the right to ask the questions no one else will. This is my show. If you don't like how I run it, there's the damn door. The challenge dropped like a bomb. Jennifer looked at her. Then the cameras. Then the stunned co-hosts frozen in silence. When she spoke, her voice was low, controlled. Cutting. You're right, Whoopi. This is your show. And today, you showed the entire world what kind of show it's become. You showed them that if a guest doesn't toe your line, you attack. You belittle. You humiliate. And you call it empowerment. Whoopi's eyes burned. My agenda is truth. My agenda is keeping it real. I don't let people come on here and spew polished PR garbage without being called out. Jennifer's voice sharpened with rising intensity. No. Your agenda is being right. Even if it means ripping someone apart. Even if it means betraying the very values you pretend to stand for. You say you support women, but all I see is you tearing them down the second they stop nodding along. The accusation landed like a slap. Whoopi stood there, stunned for half a breath, then exploded. An act. You think everything I've built, everything I've fought for, is an act? How dare you question my authenticity when yours changes with every man you're seen with? That broke something in Jennifer. Enough, she snapped. Stop dragging my personal life into this. Stop using my relationships to shame me. Stop weaponizing my past just to win an argument you've already lost. Whoopi's voice cracked. Lost. I haven't lost a damn thing. You're the one who showed up unprepared for real conversation. You're the one who's about to storm off because you can't take the heat. But Jennifer paused, looked around, at the cameras still rolling, at the co-hosts frozen mid-breath, at the crew no longer pretending they weren't watching. And then she turned back to Whoopi. Her voice was calm. Final. I'm not storming out. I'm leaving. Because I won't sit here and be abused on national television. I came to talk about working mothers. You came to start a fight. Whoopi took a step closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper filled with venom. Then leave. Walk out. Show everyone what you do when you're not treated like royalty. Show them that Jennifer Lopez can't handle a tough conversation unless she controls the script. Jennifer calmly picked up her purse, stood tall. What I'm showing them, she said clearly, is that I have enough self-respect not to stay in a place I'm not welcome. No woman, no matter how successful, should have to put up with this kind of treatment. Not on camera. Not anywhere. The studio was so silent, you could hear the hum of the lights. Whoopi stood there, chest rising, hands clenched. Fine, she spat. Leave. But don't expect to come crawling back when you need this show to plug your next movie. Don't expect to sit at this table again after this. Jennifer paused at the studio door. Turned back. I wouldn't come back here if you paid me, she said. Her voice was like ice, sharp and elegant. This show used to be about women lifting each other up, about truth, about conversation. But you turned it into a power trip, and I won't be part of it. Whoopi's face flushed purple with rage. Get out, she growled. Get out of my studio. Security. Jennifer stared at her, then smiled, cool and cutting. I don't need security, Whoopi. I can walk out on my own, with my dignity intact. Can you say the same? She turned and walked to the exit. Don't you walk away from me! Whoopi screamed. We're not done here! Come back and finish this conversation. Jennifer stopped, just for a moment. She looked back one last time. Her final words rang out like a bell. The conversation ended the moment you chose to attack instead of listen. The moment your ego became more important than your principles. This conversation, it's been over. You're just too angry to realize it. And with that, Jennifer Lopez walked off the set of The View, leaving stunned silence in her wake and a host still trembling with rage. Whoopi stood frozen, fists clenched, chest heaving. Then she turned to the cameras. Her voice was bitter, defensive. Well, she muttered, I guess we all just saw Jennifer Lopez's true colors. Some people talk about being real until it's time to prove it. But the damage was done. The audience had seen everything. The cameras had captured everything. And in the end, it wasn't the guest who looked rattled. It was the host.